Welcome to Football Mudial, where we focus on the best action around the world. Japan's new boys struggle to find their feet. There's a wet welcome for the tourists in South Africa and a warm reception for the ref in Brazil, while the sun shines on Spartak in Moscow.
The people of Sao Paulo, Brazil's most cosmopolitan city, care passionately about their sport. During the run-in to the finish of the Sao Paulo State Championship, one of the most prestigious state titles contested in Brazil, football fans said goodbye to their city's favourite sporting son, Ayrton Senna. The city's most popular football team, Sao Paulo, are the current world club champions. They're still capable of turning on the style, Palhinha scoring here. But since Rai left less than a year ago, things haven't been quite the same. Coach Tele Santana keeps threatening to leave the club but has agreed to stay until December. The question is, will Sao Paulo be able to hold on to the players of the calibre of 21-year-old Juninho? This goal, one of two candidates for goal of the season. Against America, forward Mudial scored a hat-trick. Not in the same class perhaps as Juninho's effort, but the celebrations were world-class. Second half, Mudial scores his third, and he's at it again. A different partner this time, and symptomatic of their season. They don't quite pull it off. Corinthians finished third in the championship, level on points with Sao Paulo. The league supplies most of the home-based Brazilians going to the World Cup, but whether Viola, scorer of this goal, will get into the side in America is doubtful. Bebeto and Romario stand in his way. This offside goal provoked one of the worst scenes in the championship. Observers have been impressed by the improved behaviour on the pitch, but first a fan and then an official of Portuguesa did not take too kindly to the referee's decision. Team of the season, though, have been the irrepressible Palmeiras. Colombian Freddy Rincon scoring here against Ituano. The Parmalat-sponsored club have money, they have style, and thanks to Rincon's goal, they now have the state championship for the second season in a row. Palmeiras are also the current national champions. Little, it seems, can stop them. They also scored the second contender for goal of the season. Edilson showing audacity, determination, and a little bit of cheek. Few were betting against Palmeiras when the national championship starts in September.
In Uruguay, they've adopted the Argentinian league system, splitting their season into two separate tournaments. Penarol have made a slow start to the Torneo Apertura, but Marcelo Otero gave them the lead against River Plate. In the second half, Oscar Aguigare's free kick made it 2-0 to the defending champions. League games aren't well attended. Those present will have enjoyed that. Penarol's third came from another free kick. Federico Magallanes heading home just before the end. Penarol are now 3 points behind the leaders, Defensor Sporting.
South Africa could be looking at a bright soccer future. The country has already attracted players from across the continent to its league, and local coaches like Mitch Davray believe its soccer fans are as committed as any in the world.
Supporters would bet their whole month's salary on one game. And never mind that they've got wife and kids back at home, the whole month's salary goes on one game, so it literally becomes a matter of life and death.
The passion for the game in South Africa is such that two of the top English teams were attracted for an end-of-season tour. Last week, Liverpool beat Aston Villa in an exhibition game. This week, the players met State President Nelson Mandela and took on the pick of the local clubs. The best of the matches saw Liverpool meet the side coached by Mitch Davray, Cape Town Spurs. Though the conditions in the Newlands cricket ground were dreadful, Liverpool managed to show enough style to delight their many South African-based fans. Robbie Fowler opening the scoring. A 20,000 crowd braved the rain, and though some of the bigger English stars were missing, Liverpool youngster Phil Charnock took the chance to impress with a superb individual goal on a rare first-team outing. Cape Town Spurs are second in the South African League, yet failed to really test the 18 times English champions. A 3-0 victory was clinched by Neil Ruddock, who then took his post-match bath on the pitch. Between the games, the English teams were impressed with the skills of the South African youngsters in a series of coaching clinics. Yet the lack of experience in the local teams occasionally showed. The defensive frailties of the Morocco Swallows were exposed by Aston Villa's Guy Whittingham in a 1-0 win.
We're doing all in our power to try to bring all these big giants to come and, grace our fields. And that's a possibility. We will be negotiating with these teams in the US when we go to the World Cup tournament. So we hope that we can be able to bring England and Brazil, even Italy.
Significantly, Nelson Mandela is backing the efforts to strengthen the country's football, and he was again in evidence at the final game of the tour. The Kaiser Chiefs and Liverpool shared a goalless draw, yet more importantly for players like John Barnes, the trip had seen the lifelong ambition of meeting Mandela come true.
It was a tremendous honour for me. Actually went to his house, invited us in, had a cup of coffee. Didn't know what to say to him, I was in awe of him. Tremendous man.
The English players can finally rest after an arduous season, but the South Africans are only halfway through theirs.
In the Russian Cup final, Spartak take an early lead against local Moscow rivals CSKA. Lidiakov scoring after 6 minutes. 5 minutes later, it's 2-0. CSKA's offside trap is sprung. There's some neat passing inside the penalty area. And Karpin finishes with precision. But the army side refused to retreat. Vladislav Rodimov is first to the rebound. 2-1 to Spartak at half-time. 13 minutes into the second half, CSKA have a free kick. Bistrov scores, although the Spartak keeper Stoich won't be happy with the bounce of the ball. Despite some close calls, that's the end of the goals in normal and extra time, and the final goes to penalties. Spartak keeper Stoich redeems himself, saving first from Bushmanov, and then brilliantly from Kuprianov. It's left to Alenichev to take the decisive kick. Spartak win 4-2 on penalties. 9 of their side now head off for America with the Russian World Cup squad.
In round 14 of the J-League, the last games before the break for the Kirin Cup, Ivan Hasek gives Sanfrecce the lead against Verdi Kawasaki. Fellow Czech Pavel Černý crosses for Hasek to put Sanfrecce 2-0 ahead just before the interval. In the second half, Moriyasu latches on to a weak clearance to score the best goal of the game and put the issue beyond doubt. Despite a Kazumura penalty, Sanfrecce were determined to pile on the embarrassment for the champions. Ivan Hasek completing his hat-trick. 4-1 the final score, Verdi's worst ever defeat in the J-League. Sanfrecce still lead from Shimizu S-Pulse.
The city of Hiroshima, and the quiet start to a critical week in Japanese football. In the Peace Park, a permanent memorial to those who died 49 years ago when the atom bomb was dropped on the city, the Peace Club of a local middle school of 12 to 16-year-olds remember the momentous piece of history which has shaped their lives ever since. But the main attraction of the day in Hiroshima this Sunday was the kickoff of Japan's first match in the Kirin Cup. The Big Arch Stadium, as they call it, one of the proposed Japan 2002 World Cup sites, will be the location for the Asian Games Football Championship in October. It's also the home ground of Sanfrecce, current leaders of the J-League, with coach Stuart Baxter and all the players among the 60,000 crowd. But the big issue here against Australia was a national one. Failure to qualify for the World Cup has been a bad blow to Japan's pride and to their progress. This was a fresh start with a new-look team with few players of international experience. And a new coach, Brazilian Paulo Roberto Falcao, whose 8-month contract takes him only to the Asian Games. So there's enormous pressure on him to get things right immediately. Australia, a last-minute replacement for Maradona and Argentina, playing together for the first time in 6 months, had 2 days' warning to gather a squad and were immediately put under pressure by Falcao's attacking formation. Asano took the free kick. An error by Robert Zabika, and Japan, with 4 new internationals in the side, were 1 up in just 6 minutes. And it got worse for Zabika, retiring after this game and moving from Adelaide back to his home in Perth. He injured knee ligaments after 36 minutes and was replaced by the Australian third choice, 20-year-old Zeljko Kalac. So only 1 goal at half-time. In the second half, the ups and downs of the match were much more evenly spread. After 68 minutes, the Japanese revealed a couple of defensive frailties. Vidmar's shot is cleared off the line. Carl Veert beats goalkeeper Makaiwa to the ball, and that's an easy equaliser for Aurelio Vidmar, who'll be moving from Belgium to Holland next season. There was still plenty of time for 6'7" Kalac to show why he won the players' votes as the best goalkeeper in Australia last season. But as Japan ran out of impetus, the frustration showed amongst their young supporters. That's how it ended, 1-1, a better result for Australia than Japan, but no damage done to the popularity and esteem of Japan's players in the eyes of their fans.
They seem to be a bit more aggressive on the 50-50 balls, I thought. If boys don't pull together now, we could be in a little bit of trouble. And when the goal went in, which was a silly goal to concede, I thought, well, maybe it's not going to be our day. But one thing I've always thought, and I'll take to the grave, is that Aussie teams, no matter where they are or how bad the situation is, never give up.
The next day in Tokyo, the 4th Congress of the World Cup Bidding Committee, a progress report put to those organisations who are financing Japan's bid to stage the World Cup in 2002. Japan, the clear favourite, has lost ground recently to the aggressive Koreans. Refusing Maradona an entry visa for the Kirin Cup was less damaging than the defeat by Korea of Tadeo Murata, the committee's general secretary, in the Asian Federation voting for a place in FIFA's senior committee. He apologised profusely. Delegates shuffled papers. Not even Pele's criticism of the Japanese government's ban on Maradona ruffled any feathers, because they all knew that action had been taken to smarten up their act. It was left to Bobby Charlton to hit the right note.
We must be confident. We must be strong. We are the best. We must be professional. And if we are professional, we will win sport's greatest prize, the World Cup in this country. Arigato.
And the show went on at the reception afterwards. The evidence was there that the gentlest of revolutions had taken place, with a new power structure designed to give Japan's 2002 bid much more aggressive leadership. A Japanese solution to a Japanese problem, with help from distinguished guests. And by the end, if the governor of Owisu was anything to go by, the bosses of the 15 prospective World Cup venues were as confident as ever of winning the vote in 1996. Back on the field, Paulo Roberto Falcao has problems as he tries to live down his own reputation as an outstanding player who's achieved nothing as a coach. Despite the success of the J-League and the dedication of the players, who are mostly straight from university, Japan's internationals lack experience and a professional upbringing.
A weak point is that they haven't worked their way through the lower categories of the game. They haven't benefited from that important thing, contact through the lower levels with professionals. There's been no contact with their heroes. It's very important to experience what is required in teamwork and individual standards, right from the top to the bottom.
And when Japan played France in the third of the Kirin Cup games in Tokyo, that lack of experience cost them dearly. Yuri Djurkev scoring after 15 minutes. The Japanese panicked, the French pushed forward, and Djurkev gave Jean-Pierre Papin the chance to show he's still one of the best. 2-0 after 18 minutes. Instead of tightening up in midfield, the Japanese stood off players like Eric Cantona, who proceeded to destroy them. At times, the French, with 5 changes from the side who only just beat Australia, were playing exhibition football. Japan had no answer. In the second half, they brought on their second-choice goalkeeper, Hanami, and it started badly for him. Le Guen's corner and Ginola's flick helped in by Kurosaki. Then a good run by Djurkev is partially stopped, but the ball comes to Ginola, a speculative shot, and the nightmare goes on. Made worse for poor Hanami playing in his first international by the public replay of that error. The Japanese never gave up, and Kasu's hard work eventually gave 20-year-old Agura a goal on his international debut. A player who's been learning his trade in Holland. A cheerful note to end on, but a result which emphasises that the World Cup will be poorer without France, and a week which shows that there is a lot of work to do still in Japan.
And football Mundial back same time next week, of course, Australia.